Welcome back. So as you can see, my tests yielded results. The trick that I covered in my previous video about unbinding bound weapons so you could keep them permanently does in fact also work on armor. I found, in addition to the one that gives you the gauntlets and the mace, I also found a shrine that gives you a bow and a helmet. And here's the best part. Check this out. Even though these are clearly Daedric items, and we all know Daedric is heavy, these are light armor. Both of them. I don't know how that works, and I don't care. But I had a thought for today, for this episode, because I noticed in a previous episode that food, tomatoes, apples, lettuce, crab meat, pretty anything you can eat, they all have alchemical properties, right? So I thought, well, there's got to be farms, right? And these farms are probably going to be near settlements, near the large cities, so I probably don't have to go very far from these towns to find farms. So I am going to go settlement by settlement looking for farms, and anytime I find one, I am going to collect those resources, and then we're going to see what we can do about breaking alchemy in half. Tally-ho. Alright, so after all my running around, this was my takeaway. These ingredients right here, carrots, corn, flaxseed, fly amanita, grapes, sacred lotus seeds, and tomatoes. These are the 7 ingredients that you're going to want to collect because they are easy to collect in large quantities. There's a lot of ingredients out there, but these are the ones that you can see I've got more than 100. Some of them I've got more than 200. And it was very little effort to collect these. And I'm going to show you in a sec here where to get all of these ingredients. Now, the reason I say these ingredients in particular is because flaxseed and sacred lotus, they combine to make a potion that it's, until you get to, I think it's 50 when you can get multiple effects on a single potion. It's either 50 or 75. Until that point, it only gives you feather, I think. And then it adds the damage health after that point. I don't think that changes the value of the potion because it's still only 2 ingredients, but that's not the point. The point is that you can get a lot of these and you can get a lot of XP from doing them, and then you can get a lot of potions to then sell and also increase your mercantile. The carrots, corn, grapes, tomatoes, you combine these 4 in any combination to get restore fatigue. Doesn't matter which pairing you use. They all make restore fatigue. I believe grapes can also be combined with flaxseed to make a damage health. Yes, they can. So, I mean, as you can see, I've got a ton of flaxseed. So if I want to use half of them to make these damage health and use the other half to make the feather potion or dispel. Oh, that was the other thing. No, it was grapes and sacred lotus. That does a dispel and damage health. So these 3, the grapes, sacred lotus, and flaxseed, they can be combined in multiple combinations as well. Now the fly amanita does not combine with anything on this list. The reason why I have it here is because of all of these ingredients. It is the one that is the easiest to collect in the largest amount because they are everywhere in the Imperial City. And at one point I had over 500 of them. They're so plentiful and they are worthless. They are 1 gold each if you sell them. But once you're at level 100, you can just use one to make 2 potions worth 47 gold each. Which means if you sell the potions at 50%, which by then your mercantile is going to be high enough, you're not going to sell them at 50%. But let's just say you do for ease of math. You turn something that's worth 1 gold into something that's worth 47 gold. And you've got 500 of them. It is just a no-brainer for stacking money. And yes, I am aware that there is a method to dupe items and to dupe gold. I've seen the videos. I have not watched them. I don't know what the method is. I don't want to know. I don't want to use that technique. I'm not judging it, not saying there's anything wrong with it. It's just not my cup of tea. I prefer to do it this way. It's just a personal preference, no other reason. But yeah, these right here, you do this maybe 2 or 3 times. It took me Once I figured this out, these 7 right here, once I figured these out, and I should say, once I figured these 6 out, and I just collected the Flaminata to save it for later. Once I figured all of these out, it took me maybe 2 or 3 hours. I got to 50 in the first 10 minutes, and then I got to like 60 or 70 in another hour. And then it was another hour, and I was at 100. So it was like 2.5 hours to completely max out. And in that process, I also hard leveled armor using all of that money that I got from selling all those potions. I went to trainers to level my blunt. I leveled my marksman, and my mercantile went up to 72 just from selling all that stuff. Also, my acrobatics and my athletics went through the roof just from all of that running and jumping and collecting ingredients, which is another reason why I prefer to collect the ingredients than just make a potion once and dupe it, you know, or get an ingredient once and dupe the ingredient, because all of that running around and jumping is actually leveling not 1 but 2 skills. So by the time I was done, you can see I'm level 19 now. Okay, so real quick, I want to show you where you can get all these ingredients really quickly and easily. This first map, the inner red ring there is on the inside wall of the inner palace area. This is, if you fast travel to the palace and then you like look around, you'll see a bunch of graves. This ring is where all the graves are, and the entire area is very densely packed with fly aminata, lots of it. The whole city really is just, you walk around the Imperial City and it's just everywhere in there. But especially in that inner ring is very densely packed. And then these yellow sections, these are little retention ponds that have lots of, again, very densely packed sacred lotus blossoms to get the seeds. Really anywhere on the map where you see a water's edge, there's a chance that you'll find lotus blossoms there. And also hyacinth. They, outside of the Imperial City, the two seem to always appear together. But inside the city, it's only the blossoms. There's no hyacinth. But I mean, in the city, I was able to get from the red ring, I was able to get about 120. And from the yellow ring, I was also able to get about 120 of the sacred blossom seeds. On this second map, you'll see that I have a large blue area. That is, this whole area north of Skingrad is just teeming with flaxseed. I mean, hundreds. This pink area inside of it, the smaller pink area, is the most densely packed area, and it's safer in this pink area than it is in the rest of the blue area. So, I mean, if you're not trying to go nuts and go overboard, stick to the pink area. This 2 purple circles here that are right next to Skingrad, that is the vineyard. There's lots and lots of grapevines there. You can get 124 out of there. And then this red one that's over behind Skingrad, that is approximately, I only just found it before I started recording this, so I didn't have time to count how many tomatoes I got out of there, but I think it was like 90. There's a lot of tomatoes back there. It's just a tomato farm. There's nothing else there. And then over to the left, just under the H in Kvatch, is an orange square. That is Shetcombe Farm. This is probably the biggest farm in the game, or at least it's certainly the biggest one I found. And it's got a lot of different crops. It's got corn, it's got carrots, it's got, I think, potatoes, and it's several other items, and large quantities of all of them. I probably walked away from there with like 200 ingredients of different types altogether. And it's just, if you go over to Kvatch and then you just walk around the back, it's right there. And it's huge. There's a couple other that I wanted to point out. There's the Whitmont Farm that's just north of Anvil. If you fast travel to Anvil and you just go north for like 10 seconds, it's right there. There is Odile Farm, which is on the Black Road on the way up to the Priory, where you go to meet Joffrey. And it's a pretty decent sized farm. There's a lot of stuff there. So I would recommend hitting that one as well. And if you're willing to make the trek, there's also Apple Watch, which ironically doesn't have any apples. But it does have, I want to say, corn and carrots, and I think a couple other things, 1 or 2 other things. And it's a decently sized farm. It's the smallest one of the ones I'm mentioning here. There are probably other farms in the game besides these couple that I mentioned here, but these are the ones that I was able to find large enough to be worth mentioning. But there might be others that I just didn't find them. So, and I'm going to show you in a second, now that I have this, what exactly you are capable of doing when you have Alchemy 100. Let's go check it out. All right, so now I got some Nightshade. It's all you need, because you can make damage health potions, and it says 4 points of damage per second for 17 seconds. That doesn't sound like a lot, but from my testing, it appears that applications of poison stack. So if we, oh, and another thing I forgot to mention, these other 3 items, the alum bag, the calcinator, and the, I forget what the other thing's called, they have effects on the duration, the intensity, and the price of the potions that you produce. They make the potions better. So we're going to make some of these poison potions here, right? So I'm just going to go ahead and make them all. Even though I still have a novice set of stuff here. This is all novice stuff. But see, now I had 25, so now I've got 50 damage health potions. So what I'm going to do now is shortcut it. There. Now, I am not an archery primary build. My bow only does 11 damage. I only have an agility of, well, my agility is actually pretty high at this point because of all the leveling. I forgot it got higher. So that's actually a pretty good agility. But still, I'm only doing 11 damage with a bow, and I'm using what? I think silver arrows? Yeah, I'm using silver arrows. Oh, I've got dwarven arrows. They do the same. Let's go find something big to kill. All right, so you hit 1 to activate the poison. I just applied a dose of poison, and you can see it down in the bottom right corner on my bow, that little green leaf that's on there. That means there is a dose of poison applied to my bow that will deal poison damage on the next shot. Now, if you miss the next shot, the dose is lost. See, you can see how many of these, remember I was saying earlier about how the flaxseed is everywhere over here? It is truly abundant. Let's go find something that's kind of hard to kill. Now, like I said, I do not do a lot of, ooh, there's a beefy one. Yes. Yeah. See that? He just dropped dead because of all the poison. I shot him 3 times. And he was still at 3/4 health the last time I shot him, and the poison just devoured him. That was all poison damage. I did 11 points of damage per shot. Well, no, I did 18 because it's 11 from the bow and 7 from the arrow. So that's 18 times 3 is what? 8 times 3 is 24, 54. So it's 54 damage from the bow. The rest of it was poison damage because the poison applications actually stack. So, whereas before, in, you know, I shouldn't say before, whereas in Skyrim, which came in later, they kind of nerfed poisons. They didn't really nerf poisons. It's just they made weapons so good that you didn't really need poisons anymore. In this game, weapons don't do as much damage. And I'm, to be clear here, I am playing on, where is it? System. I'm playing on master difficulty. So I just 3-shotted, what are those things called again? I didn't even know I could kill that thing. That's the first time I've ever fought a Daedroth. I just 3-shotted a Daedroth on master difficulty, and I'm not even an archer build. So, poisons are awesome. And this isn't even the strongest potion you can make. This is just the garbage potion that I tossed together really quick with the 0 effort potion. You can add paralysis to this so that the monster just stands there paralyzed, just bleeding to death. Alchemy is awesome. So yeah, that's how you break Alchemy. Thanks for checking out my channel. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll see you guys tomorrow.